Wachen! Kommt und betet mit mir! Denn ich allein bin ein Nichts, verdorben, mein Name, mein Leid, mein Reich, mein Wille, mein Fluch über mich und außer mir. Täglich hungert der Leib und dürstet die Seele. Ich ertrage die Schuld, ich ertrage die Beschuldigungen, denn ich bin in Versuchung und kenne keine Erlösung. Denn mein ist das Leid, die Wut und das Streben bis zum Tod. Amen.
Alright, what's up, yins guys? Time for another video. Today I'm going to talk about invocations and salutations, summonings and invocations, and how you prove that in a metaphorical sense, how you should prove the existence thereof in a metaphorical sense. And in your being aware of that, no matter what you think you believe in or what you don't believe in, how these things can really benefit and protect you or destroy you and literally fuck you over, and how doing the wrong things and the wrong gestures in certain places, and how some of these things work even when you're by yourself, if you choose to believe that anything invisible is watching you, and how you are literally welcoming and inviting things around you or other humans that exist in this reality, how we actually see it. Anyway, this is shit that even a hardline atheist, if you take it in a metaphorical sense, they're going to give you dirty ass looks because they think they know it all. But if you explain it to them in this way, you can explain to them, no matter what they think, it's keys to shit that actually can get you into trouble in the real world, even though, you know, they preach science is reality and whatever they decide to not believe in, and you're going to piss the other side off too. But anyway, this is how you do it. Alright, it's like this. No matter what you believe in or what you don't believe in, whether you're a diehard conservative Christian person in a fanatical way, or you're a hardline atheist that don't believe in nothing supernatural and no angels, demons whatsoever, you gotta realize, come to this realization of this true proven reality, that everything you do in the eyes of people and these worldly devices you call the camera eye and actual people passing by, every gesture, if you will, is okay. You want to say, for example, you can use the words of yoga people. At the same time, you can call it a salutation. All these gestures, these things, no matter what you believe in, what you don't believe in, the fact of the matter and the reality of the matter is, everything you do, for good or bad, will either fuck you over seriously or bring you good luck. I mean, every gesture, it's like, can be a salutation an invocation or an invitation, you know what I'm saying? To be able to communicate with any of these people, whether know-it-all, die-hard atheists that don't believe in anything spiritual, or beliefs like the die-hard Christian that don't like no yoga and that don't like no exercise, that even doing simple stretches to be a sports cheerleader, if you're one of them, believe that yoga is evil. The bottom line you're gonna either gain respect for each of these types of people and beliefs and open our eyes, or you're going to piss them off. But that's why I say that's why I mock the far right and the far left and the know-it-alls that still live with their parents. And I like to think that I'm opening the eyes a little bit of the kids who are disgruntled with mainstream religion and TV religion, and they're rebelling against their parents who go to church, but at home they scream, swear, and chain smoke. The kids who decide to rebel against their parents with this Aleister Crowley nonsense. I mean, all right, when I took a break from college, when I took a break to go to college, when one of my good-paying factory jobs kind of went to hell, like sometimes in Western Pennsylvania, you do get laid off and went to college. During that time when I first discovered YouTube, if you got this far in this video, I aged a little bit more since I was on YouTube too, but I was exposed to and fascinated with the drama of both sides. YouTube atheist grifters, YouTube Christian grifters. In the early 2000s, you know what I mean? Some of them that got kicked off of YouTube, extremists, that I can actually mention a few names, and some that are still here. And I'm just trying to show you some facts of where I'm at, that a little bit of everybody will speak to you like you're stupid. But if you got this far in this video, if you want to say put aside the die-hard conservative Christians who give me dirty ass looks, that'll have something to say and think I should have a haircut and think I'm engaged in something wrong. You want to talk about the die-hard atheists that don't give a fuck about me if I don't subscribe to the woke shit and kiss the ass of whoever the hell. To be able to, or any of them say they're a atheist that it's a little easier to get along with, that kind of peeks into a little bit of knowledge, if you will, about whether anything paranormal exists, okay? I would have to say to them how I prove that my philosophies are right. I have this thing where you have to make it a metaphor, and that's why I'll say anything that is metaphoric can become metamorphic. And in that sense, that even if you're a diehard atheist, like I said, everything in the actual world, even if you don't believe anything, is a salutation, an invocation, and an invitation. And if you got this far in this video, go and say that I'm wrong and I'm full of shit. If you don't agree with me, all right, how I compare the camera eye with actual real people looking into it. Everybody agrees that's out there. It can, they can use with technology, okay, that you can have a dime in your hand and they can zoom in and see what date that dime is in your hand and everything you're doing. And that dovetails into one of my all-time favorite songs, where Rob Halford of Judas Priest, even though years ago he came out as gay, he had the most prolific song in history, Hellion Electric Eye, you know, up there in space, looking down on you, my lasers trace everything you do. You think you have private lives, think nothing of the kind. There is no true escape. I am watching all the time. You know, it's like that. You gotta, if you want to say, in my opinion, like I'm saying, if you want to believe any angels or demons, anything invisible, if you want to say that exists, in my personal opinion, if you want to convince anybody of anything, you got to bring forth the facts, the people with cameras that can watch you. If you're committing a crime, doing bad things, or you can do good things. And if anybody who wants to roll their eyes or turn up their nose like I'm full of shit, and you don't believe me, you think you're anything just because you don't believe in angels, demons, or you don't like Christians, or you don't like Wiccans or anything, and you have a problem with what I'm saying and you think it's not a fact, all right, I wouldn't recommend you do this. I'm just saying in a matter of speaking, if you don't believe me, go and do something stupid in a camera like people have done in a public place. See what happens. It's like that. If you're dumb enough in the wrong places to raise a gangster sign and you're not gangster on the street in some cities, what do you think is going to happen? You're inviting something. There's days you can do it repeatedly, and then one day, it's called not being stupid. And since I worked in charity and malls and stores where cameras can see you, and I said about no stealing, people can see everything you're doing. I mean, you can wave to cameras, and you do something dumb, like point a gun go with a gun, put your fingers in the shape of a gun or a gang sign in some camera. If you're stupid enough to do that, see what happens. I mean, it's not about arguing over religion. You want to state physical facts that can be proven first. And if somebody wants to believe in anything paranormal that's watching you, I can put forth that first, and you have to see how, okay, in the real mortal world, while at the same time, just like me, not claiming any mortal authority other than common sense laws that you should obey. I'm on board with not acknowledging any worldly authority, like the woke authority that wants you to educate all the kids and us force this education on this like woke agenda crap. But I digress there. But the facts of the matters that I am telling you is, if you want to get anybody to even think of believing that there's something invisible, good or evil, watching you, the metaphor, if you will, you want to use things as a metaphor, or say you want to believe in the Wendigo spirits, that I watched prepper channels who used the Wendigo as a metaphor, and he put forth the proposition that the Wendigo being a metaphor, and certain people having this insatiable hunger that turns you into something. But then I have spoke about how bad things people were doing, literally turning cannibal and biting people and murdering. I did a video on that, which ironically ends up coming true. Even if you don't believe in any kind, if you're an atheist and you don't believe in any kind of demonic possession, you can, I don't know, if you and me were, without bringing religion or paranormal stuff into it, say if you and me were investigator trained police officers, you would see that an insatiable hunger, and you may be able to use some of the textbook schizophrenia thingy, that kind of shit, the textbook psychological things that some do apply. I don't regard as my authority, and people are getting a degree in twisting that shit, and they want to get a degree in that shit too, and twist and rewrite those laws of abnormal psychiatry and psychology. But if you want to look in the eyes of maybe some criminal forensics, even though I can't profess it in a sense, you can see symptoms of certain brain viruses that when people will use mind-altering drugs that's going all over the place now. You can see, anyway, to end this, you have to actually tear it down to a point where even if the diehard atheist wants to roll his eyes because he thinks he knows it all, that wants to be the one that knows it all, you got to break it down there first and prevent, and you got to be able to present the physical proof there. And even though you do what the science and the atheism and everything ask, and you're able to present some kind of proof, you know what? They're going to roll their eyes at you anyway, or they're like, oh, fuck him. Who does he think he is? And then the people on, some Christians will agree with you. I mean, and some will be jealous of you and say, oh, yeah, you must be worshiping some kind of fill in the blanks. That's how it is. In seeing that, that's one of the keys to getting over in this world and not falling into to bad shit, and maybe advancing yourself. Or if you're temporarily down on your luck, you see your path in returning to a former glory. I mean, well, I can go on and on about stuff like that. I'm trying to give you a nutshell idea of, all right, even if you were, like I said, even if you were an atheist, don't believe in anything, it's called actions and consequences that really do happen. I believe you have to present that as facts before getting anybody to believe in anything paranormal or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? Alright, yins guys, I'm also editing this video too, and I'm doing this video in pieces. And to add to one of my theories, I've been doing hand gestures to automatically start my camera. So in saying this, that I do this video in pieces and I'm editing and piecing it together, other things come into mind here, which I wanted to include in this subject matter. Any yins guys watch football? I want to use this as an example. Okay, back in my day, I'm like going to be 52 years old. Back in my day, when I was a small kid, you didn't have, like, say, you were watching the football game and you had the ref, you know, he announced in a microphone, you know, that so-and-so got a whatever yard penalty and all that. Did you know back when some of us were small kids, you didn't have the technology of today? So to talk to you about my theories about salutations, gestures, there was this thing in football where before you had the ref saying in a microphone, someone's penalty, 5-yard penalty or whatever, did you know, you younger people that know this, that the ref used to have all kind of hand gestures, a whole bunch of hand gestures that would, everything from tripping another football player to certain illegal this or that. I remember when I was like a young kid, my father used to go to the bar, and some of us, you know, there was times where you used to have some people used to bring your kids to the bar and sit at the table and shoot pool. But, you know, they'd be in football season, there was like a brochure, which they were also sponsored by a particular beer. It was like a pamphlet, maybe I forget what beer was sponsoring the logo on this pamphlet. It was a little free brochure where I remember as a kid opened this brochure at the bar, and there was all kind of it was showing pictures of refs, like the kind of like the pictures, all these gestures that the ref would do. And I remember maybe a couple of them as a kid. the one particular thing, it would be almost like a yoga posture with one leg up for like a, if one player was doing an illegal thing like tripping, he would be, I think I vaguely remember he was standing on one leg and almost like you were doing one of the yoga poses. But anyway, there were a bunch of, it was all hand gestures. And, well, you can say, you know, they're looking at a camera, and it could be salutations, greetings, invocations, or things like that. And okay, now that I established that, I want to give you another example here. Okay, I worked in places where there's cameras everywhere, industrial places, you know, I'd be pushing broom. And, or if you're watching this, maybe you worked in stores in Walmart, like, say if you were working enough, maybe you knew some people that were in the security or a room that watched the cameras and you knew them personally. Or in some of my cases, bosses that had cameras, different people who, I could tell you some stories like where you know where the cameras are, right? And say you know the people, whether you're friends with them or not, okay? And these didn't have audio. If you were doing something you weren't supposed to, you know, you'd be seen, you're not fooling them, right? But pretend like you were in one of them rooms with the cameras. Maybe you were a boss, you were telling me for something, or maybe you and me were friends. For the sake of this argument, right, or if we were friends and enemies, I would be able to go in that camera and give you different greetings, salutations. And I remember a lot of us, both, I had friends both black and white, and I would slip in here something humorous too. You know, the middle finger was, it's technically a greeting or a salutation. It can be inviting a fight. You can be in doing this in the wrong places. If you're friends, both black and white people, you're doing a humorous salutation. You're not enemies. That's done. Hey, there was in my former neighborhood, certain neighbors we had that were black were actually talking about that one time. Or you can be in a certain neighborhood, whether people were the same color as you or different color as you go and do that in the streets. You're inviting or welcoming a fight or getting beat up or shot, you know what I'm saying? So in a weird way, it can be dangerous and humorous at the same time, depending on who you know. But anyway, I'm talking about one example that you can support this theory. You know, I mean, if you and me were basically friends, and say you're in a industrial environment, you're in that room that you see the cameras, I can signal you for different reasons, or you know, flippings, or I can welcome you to come out and come see me. And if you get anything out of that, anything out of this video, that part, like the idea that you can use a camera to invite a human being, or you can be in a customer in a Walmart intentionally, and you don't want to intentionally invite loss prevention or security or antagonize them or invite them come out in a bad way, to establish the physical proof in this mortal world we're living in that you can actually do that. Whether you're friends or enemies, you can invite something to come. That you establish that as a physical reality because of the technology. Then you can tell somebody, entertain the thought that there can be invisible spirits, angels, demons. That you can, with gestures, salutations, that you can invite them to come, invite good or bad things, or you can antagonize them, welcome the wrong things in that can harm you. In the real world, you can do that with human beings, and it can get you into a lot of trouble and harm you. Or you can, like I said, you know, in the sense of, if I compare this to a camera, you and them are friends, beneficial in communication, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to tell you an element that actually physically exists in reality, that it's like that in the actual world, you know what I'm saying? And if you were to, say, talk about, you know, if you wanted to, whether an atheist or diehard Christian, about Ouija boards and why you shouldn't do it, or I would give you in the argument I was saying, say they don't hear you and you're using gestures, like I said in the football philosophy that I was telling you, right? Ouija boards and devices for pointing and things like that, or spelling things out in dirt or things like that. What you're doing is, if you believe there's anything watching you, say you use a baton, a stick for pointing, it's almost like the way if you think you're summoning some kind of spirits, if you believe in that or not, you'd have to compare it to, say I had a baton or an item and I was pointing something or doing it with my finger. Say if you were looking at me in a security camera, you can invoke, antagonize, salutation, any kind of a salutation, whether it's like a yoga type friendly salutation like yoga says, or a fighting, antagonizing salutation, which, like I said, this can be an antagonizing or it can be friendly, depend on what crew you're around or whatever. But yeah, there's the physical reality that you have to be able to subscribe. If you subscribe to any of this, describe. I meant to say describe. To describe that in a physical sense. If you want to subscribe to any kind of philosophy, that's would be what that is. And so it's all about gestures and communications that you project or put out there. You know what I'm saying? That do have real results and consequences, if you will.
You shine. This